Do I have your consent to penetrate?
Is it the toy giving you the pleasure or them giving you the pleasure?
You could go a cappella with your hands, or
Go
no,
acoustic.
acoustic. That's the word. Yeah. Or battery powered or whatever.
She's horrified. She's like, oh my God.
Did you ever think you're going to be here on a show talking about masturbation?
No, honestly, not.
This is Fresh Perspectives, a show where we get new perspectives on the social issues that affect modern society. Our contributors will play a game where they pick out a statement. If they agree, they will walk to the agree side and state their reasons why. If they disagree, they will walk to the disagree side and state the reasons why. This is all in order to unify across the different perspectives.
When you use both hands, I won't judge you.
Okay. This is something close to my heart. Okay. New partner is a really intense Taylor Swift fan. Is that a red flag or a green flag? I'm gonna go green because they have like something they love and they're like part of a lovely community. It can obviously be turned into a red flag if you're like spending 24/7 talking about Tay and like stalking her.
But if you're not involved in the Taylor Swift fandom at all, it probably seems intense to you if you're not a part of it.
Like, I don't mind you being a fan of something, like, but anything too obsessed, so like intense, is not too healthy.
If I had to date someone and all they went on about was Taylor Swift, I'd be like, that's kind of a red flag.
Also, I'm scared that Swifties will dox me if
Yeah.
I say red flag, so I'm neutral.
Same.
Okay, well let's see when we get into some more complex ones as well.
I like fisting and other kinky activities on a first date.
If you want to have the kind of life where you fist people on first dates, that's cool. Like, we're not here to shame people, but it's all about communication, and like fisting's an intense thing to do to someone else.
It is.
So you got to have your consent down, and you got to have your communication down, and you got to have lube.
Yes. Oh, you have to have lube.
Lube is very important.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's a green flag, but I don't think it's a red flag. I think it's whatever you want to do on your first date is fine. But as long as you're communicating the other person's down for it.
I'm more of a red because I feel like on your first date, that should be too much. You're supposed to be yourself on the first date, but like, it's just kind of too much. Maybe like depending on the individual.
But if you have nails, like we can't do much fisting, the two of us with our nails. We're like, that's not going to work.
I do think that there's this like a hookup culture thing where it's like there's an expectation that everyone is very happy to have casual sex and sex immediately. When you're like, well, maybe I want to get to know you first, and there's actually nothing prudish or like boring about that or like old fashioned. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, have a first date first, and no one gets fisted. Maybe it's a third date activity.
Maybe third or fourth date. Yeah.
But
well, we know from research and active consent that lots of people are hooking up on first times, but they're not actually really comfortable.
Yeah.
So like half of them are kind of like, yeah, this is brilliant, and the other half are probably more like you, going, no, I'm not really sure.
You know, like some people are kind of like afraid of rejection. Let's say I like a guy, you know, like I want to go on a date with him, and then we're finally on a date, and then, you know, we're getting to know each other, and then, you know, I like you, but like the rejection part, knowing that, you know, like some people don't want to be rejected, just be like, okay, we do it like just to fit in.
Like someone rejecting an activity, they're not rejecting you as a person. Like you can like someone and say, well, I'm not ready for the fisting just yet, or maybe I'll never be, but I like you and I'd like to do other things. But no, a good sexual partner will never like have you doing anything you don't want to do.
So yeah, it's great that you can check your boundaries. And
Okay, can we have sex? Partner thinks asking for consent before intimacy each time kills the mood.
and definitely red flag.
I think that there's a way to do it. There's a way to be hot about it and a way to be casual about it. Like you can ask for consent in your own language. Do I have your consent to penetrate? Or like, can we have sex?
Put my right hand on your right shoulder and turn it counterclockwise. Yes. And then can I involve my left hand on the other shoulder? Just do this.
Like it doesn't need to be that like when people hear consent, they think it's boring. And I'm like, no, it can be really hot.
You can be like, you look really hot like that. Do you want to go upstairs?
Yeah.
It's like,
I want to rail you right now. And you're like,
yeah.
I'm on red as well.
Yay.
I'm on red as well. Yeah, I feel
team consent.
it's very important to ask these questions, you know, and it doesn't really kill the mood. Like, you could be in the middle of a sex, and then your body, most especially for female, your body react differently, and then you just kind of like stop. So for example as well, you know, when you're kind of like sleeping, cuddling and stuff like that, don't be touching or be doing things that your partner is not telling you, like, I'm ready. That's a bit too much. You need to exactly check.
A sleeping person cannot consent. It doesn't matter if you're a first-time hookup or friends with benefits or like a married couple that's been together 10 years. Like, you still need to check in with each other.
And even during sex as well, like this is obviously talking about beforehand, but during it, it's like you're not mind readers and like we don't get good sex education. So if you have someone going, how's that for you? You know, and if you go, don't stop, that's really, really good. That's consent. It's A, really hot, but B, it kind of makes you go, oh, I am doing something good. Like they're actually enjoying this. This is great. Because it's not like we get like lessons on how to have sex, you know, it's like we have to kind of figure this out by ourselves, so we can be kind to each other and communicate and be like, I like this, or I don't like this, or I like what you're doing but slow down a little bit, or move over this way, or can we take a break? And that's been kind to each other.
You need to check with your partner, like, body language is very important.
So important.
You know, like sometimes people don't know how to communicate with words.
Yeah, or you just kind of freeze up and you're like, okay, I don't feel really comfortable, but I feel really awkward saying it to them. And I think people see, like in porn and also in a lot of the like sex scenes we see in TV and film, it's quite seamless and no one speaks. So I think we watched that and we learned that that's like, well, that's what sex should be like. I should always know what to do.
If I went into a cookery class and was like, okay, we're gonna make like Japanese food
silently
today. Yeah, I would
having
be
never
like,
done it before.
I don't know what to do, and I feel really awkward. And it's okay to just ask and go, can I have a hand with this? Or like, is
show
this
me
working?
what you like, or like show me how to do it.
And I also feel like like when you're with somebody, a partner, I feel like it is very important that you know their likes and their dislikes, but like maybe know some important part of them, maybe, you know, things that triggered them, maybe they've somebody that has trauma before, like things like that. It's very important because there could be a point when you're having sex and they could get a flashback, you know, and then trauma has no timing. So I feel like it's very important that you know these things in order to avoid anything that will cause your partner like to feel upset or to feel very like not okay. So it is very important to have like a clear communication before you do anything too deep, because this is how relationships don't last.
A few. Okay, right. The male partner asking to be the little spoon is an ick.
Like we just said, like men get to be soft and cared for too.
After sex cuddles are really nice for a lot of people, and because we can be very touch hungry. Intimacy is not just penetration, it's the hugs and the I'll get you a cup of tea
and the like care.
Like,
the lovey-dovey stuff, you know, like
And we've played this game a lot with like students in colleges, and a green flag that we always get from young men is that like, oh, they let me be the little spoon. And it's so sweet. You're just like, oh my God, no, you should get to be cared for as well. Like, you don't always have to be like big, strong, I'm running the sex and I just wham bam and leave. And like, that's not what it's, that's not
and
what
that's so
good
much
sex
pressure
is like.
on men as
so
well.
So much pressure. Because no one actually tells them how to do it. Everyone's like, well, you have to lead this, but we'll never tell you how to do it. Just that expect you to know how to do everything and run the whole show.
They also have like their own soft side of them, that big baby side of them. They're humans as well, like, because we're female, like we get that as well. Well, I get that, but they also
it's more acceptable for women to feel that way.
We shouldn't like dismiss the men as well. Like they should come in as well because they are worthy of it as well.
It's not an ick if boys want to be the little spoon.
Any kind of spoon.
Hold it. Teamwork.
Yeah. Oh.
Wait.
There we go.
Oh, okay, very timely one. I prefer online dating apps rather than organic meetups.
I don't think that one is inherently better than the other, but I do think that I think organically meeting someone is often so much better. Whenever I meet up for them on the date, then I feel like I've already signed myself away. Like I feel like we're getting married and I've agreed to like them.
Okay.
But I think whenever you're dating someone organically, there's a bit more like, I don't know, do they like me? And it's got a bit more like play and fun and like uncertainty to it. I feel like the dating apps take all the fun out of it.
I mean, it really depends on your style of dating as well. Of like, are you more that casual, spontaneous one, or are you someone who like wants to say, okay, I want to see what people are like in the cold light of day, because we might not look our best at like 2 in the morning after we've had a few drinks. You know,
I look great. I don't know what you're talking about.
We might not make the best decisions apart from like getting a kebab at 2 in the morning. So like the problem with a lot of online dating is like there are people pretending to be other people and like catfishing others, and you know, it's not nice. Like, and people think, oh, well, ghosting's just a part of dating now. And it's like, but it shouldn't be. It's a very mean thing to do to someone else, to leave them hanging. So I think just because it's online doesn't mean that consent and respect isn't there as well.
Yeah. And there's that virtual element of like, because you feel kind of separated from the person, that you don't treat them as well. Because you're like, well, I don't actually know this person in real life. So I feel like whenever you know people in real life, you have to treat them a bit better and a bit more respectfully. And I think online dating is a little bit flippant.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to move mine to fully green instead of neutral, because I think if you're online dating, you can be a bit more conscious and reflective about your dating. So you can be like, what box do I tick? Am I looking for a one-night stand, or am I looking for marriage, or am I looking for a long-term relationship? And you can be very clear about that and talk about, this is what I want, and then you can see other people. So if you're only looking for a one-night stand, there's no point in matching with someone who's looking for marriage. So you're kind of like cutting out the time.
It is all cards on the table kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is...
It does work sometimes. You know, some people, they literally have a whole like a family from meeting somebody online. But I feel like it's by luck sometimes. We're kind of like lost in the real connection, getting to see who you want to be with and the way they describe themselves, the way you see them on profile pictures, and the real connection.
This is why I always say, like, don't sex before you meet them, because imagine like you sent them all your nudes and everything else, and then you meet them and you're like, I really don't like them. It's just awkward then.
Don't be sending your boom boom to nobody because before you know, it's all over the media global. Like, don't do that.
My key piece of advice for dating apps is don't leave it longer than a week of talking to them, because then you could be like a few months in and you're like texting away, and then you meet them and you're like, I just wasted like 3 months or something, you know. So a week, go get a coffee and then see if there's that kind of connection, and then kind of see where you're going. Yeah, different people, different things. Okay, so a green, a neutral, and a red for that one.
You got it.
Okay, magic. I say it should be an easy one, but you never know. Sex is a fun activity for me. Seems kind of basic on the surface, but then if you look at it, I mentioned earlier, like trauma, or if it's the kind of sex that actually is doing anything for you, or the you know, if you're having one night stands and you really want relationships, that's kind of, it's not going to be fun then. Or if you're doing it to just please other people, you're just like, oh, this person's really into me, I'll have sex with them, and you're like, but what about you? You deserve it.
And if someone, I feel like if you're saying that's a red flag, it's like, oh my god, no, like sex is only something that happens in a relationship. Or if you I feel like saying that's a red flag is shamey, and I'm like, if you know what you like and if you know what's fun, green flag.
Like, especially women, you get called a slut if you're into sex. If you're able to be like, I like sex, it's not a bad thing. Like, pleasure is not a dirty word. You look like you're like gonna
I mean, like, we're all not gonna pretend like, you know, sex is like normal biology thing that we have to do. Like, how do we make babies? But like, you should do it when you feel comfortable, and it's fun if you with the right person that makes you feel loved and not used, you know, because my religion says that, you know, even when you're married, you should not derive yourself of it, because it's part of the whole commitment thing. Like, you know, if it's not fun, you're with the wrong person.
Exactly. But also, sexual activity is also solo stuff. Masturbation is sexual activity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
gets really shamed, especially for women as well.
Yes, majorly. Or that like if you're in a relationship, like you don't need to do that. No, masturbation's normal and it's common and it's a healthy sexual
Helps
expression.
you sleep, helps
Yeah,
your blood pressure.
There's lots of benefits to it.
It's generally free.
Yeah, it's
unless
fine.
you bought some sex toys.
Yeah.
Like that kind of works.
With the masturbation one,
Yeah.
I'm gonna disagree.
Okay.
Why?
Because like I know you're not gonna come for me because I'm a Christian, yeah. With my religion, it talks about masturbation and sexual activities and stuff. Yeah, we're supposed to have sex and have fun and that. But when it comes to masturbation, don't get me wrong, each to their belief. But I'm just saying that sometimes too much of masturbation can actually affect your actual sex life with a partner.
As long as you're not like hurting yourself or impeding your day-to-day activities, like you could be wanking 5 times a day and it's not gonna, it's kind of a myth that it has an effect. So like Caroline would definitely know more about this than I do.
Do you now get pressure, like like you're used to getting orgasm by yourself and stuff like that, and then when it comes to your man, does the actual thing make you?
But if you tell them, because if you find something that works for you and you're just like, this makes me feel amazing, you're just going, let me show you this. And then they can do that with you and they'll give you that pleasure.
Is it the toy giving you the pleasure or them giving you the pleasure?
Why not both?
Yeah, why not both? And like, so obviously you can feel differently to different sensations and like, oh, maybe this gets it done much quicker. But like, honestly, the better you know yourself and your own body and what you like, it's so much easier then to communicate that to someone else. Someone could be like, show me what to do. And you'd be like, well, I don't know, because I never touch it. And it's like, if you don't know yourself, how could you like even communicate?
I'm maybe like, I don't want to be like into you guys. I get what you guys are saying, explore and do the thing. But because I'm talking from a religion perspective, so that's all I get that as well. And I'm sure like people can relate to what you guys are saying and what I'm saying.
And
so
you don't even have to have any sex to be sex positive. All sex positivity means you're just not judging other people and you're not judging yourself. So if it doesn't work for you,
their own. As 2 sex educators raised in like Catholic Ireland that has so much like negativity and shame around sex and masturbation, we're very much like, do it, it's great. But sex positivity is about like, well, as long as you're not harming anyone, everything's consensual and everyone's like a happy like adult doing it, like go do it, it's great.
You could go a cappella with your hands, or acoustic, that's the word, or battery powered or whatever. But it depends. So that
she's horrified. She's like, oh my god.
Did you ever think you're going to be here on a show talking about masturbation?
No, honestly, no.
That's a good thing. So so if it's not fun for you, well then it's not fun.
You have to reveal it.
Anyway, like collapsing sex things.